Okay, so let's call this meeting to order. It is 6:15. We'll start with roll call. Chairperson Chuck is here. Vice Chairperson Hussein, present. Committee member, remind me of your last name, Holly Wilson, here. Committee member Peters. Andrews, oh my gosh, it's good here. I'm so bad with last names, y'all. And then that is it. So we're missing a few. I don't have names in front of me, but.
We are missing Chuck Cohen and Raylan Monks currently, and the last one is vacant.
Okay. It doesn't look, oh, approval of minutes. I shouldn't have signed that until I did that.
That's okay.
I came in here just ready for action. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting, which was on February 13th? I'll sign a second. Okay, well, good thing, because I signed it already. I would have crossed it out and said veto it. Okay.
Who said the first? Okay, and then second.
Okay, so down to item number 3, the citizen comment period. Doesn't look like we have anybody here, so we'll just move past that. Right on to staff reports and presentations. So we have presenters are Chris.
How's it going, guys?
Hey.
So today we're going to be talking, as we always do, about the monthly report. We do have some new faces here that we're going to introduce here throughout the presentation. So just kind of a quick overview, staff intros, give you an update on compost signage, Central Texas Community Action Inc., Central Texas update, along with some of the information we talked about in the last meetings with the update on the garden plots, as well as greenhouse tray updates, gardening class, and then market giveaways. We do also have within this is just our series of videos with the campaign that we're looking to do, which we have Rachel here, and I'll introduce her later on in the slide that she has. So we are excited. If you don't know, we have created a conservation division, as we met Mr. John Davis in past meetings, where we have 2 divisions. We have a trails division as well as a landscape division, in particularly native landscape. We have hired our supervisor, Mr. Calvin King, who we're excited to have. And I'll give him the floor to introduce himself. I know there's a bunch of stuff on here, but I want to hear it from, have him tell you from his mouth kind of what his experience is.
Hi, everybody. Like you said, my name is Calvin King. Moved into the area recently, about October. Almost about 10 years of experience in horticulture. I graduated from Stephen F. Austin over in Nacogdoches, and then instantly came over here about 5 years ago. Went to apply at Hill Country Water Gardens, and for the last 5 years, I've been helping manage up there. So I'm pretty excited to be here now. Really excited to bring back to be the natives and prairies.
And as Calvin mentioned, he's going to, or as I mentioned earlier, he's going to be over the native landscape team, which is composed of 4 staff members. We'll be relocating a few positions where they're going to have a 4th crew member within that area, just due to the heavy amount of landscape that we have in our park spaces. So we're truly excited to have him. And so far, just want to let you all know he's done it for him to be here 2-3 weeks. I mean, that team has done a great job right now. So just want to highlight that for sure. Compost signage, we did provide the compost signage to you all with it looks like it's officially has been installed. So that's why we left this slide up here, but just wanted to let you aware. As well as the Community Action Inc. of Central Texas. Tamara, do you want to talk a little bit about this partnership?
Really, is it me and Stacy and Kevin, we met with them today. And I think what I gather is that they help with different demographics that are in need. And so either they're coming back through like just growing learning skills and things like that. So, and you have any more context of that group?
So this is Angie Mudd that came at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay.
So they already, okay.
Yeah.
So they came back, she came back a while back. Is that when you talked about soil and all that?
Yeah.
Okay. And so we met with them today at the garden. And yeah, they are wanting to sign up for a plot. And so they're gonna have she's gonna have students come and help with that garden and getting to plant things like that. So right now we're just finalizing that partnership agreement, and so hopefully it should be done like in a week or 2. And yeah, so we're having another partner in our garden, which is really great. We're really excited about
Growing trays, so we do have a number of plots that have been identified, that have been added. I guess greenhouse growing trays that we are gonna be tracking. I know this was an update that we provided last time, but we have gone ahead and put a little bit more detail regarding the, I guess the labeling. Within those growing trays, and Stacy, I'm not sure if there's anything else to report on the trays themselves.
It was pretty simple, other than we should probably shoot people an email that's like, hey, it's past that time already because there's some crispy things in there.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Very crispy.
Gardening class, so this was, something that's coming up here in the next couple of weeks, so just a reminder, this is a gardening class. That we're gonna schedule for March 29th, and it's gonna be talking about how to succeed at gardening outdoors in Texas, so. Just wanna remind you all, if you can help us spread that word, that'll be greatly appreciated. We're working at all times, trying to spread the word of our programs, from marketing campaigns to, just social media posts, so any reshares of those will be greatly appreciated through our socials.
Yeah, I guess my thing is, I shared it with the Kyle Garden Club and like the Facebook group and Instagram page and everything. But because they don't have to register, I don't know how many, from my meeting, from those groups are attending. But I see when I check on the rec deck, so far only one person has signed up.
Mm.
Mm.
And
So
then
those
you
are
should
for
do-
everybody now, not just people who.
Right.
Okay.
Right, yeah, it's only if you have a plot or if you're part of the Kyle Garden Club, you don't have to register on
Got
rec
it.
decks. Anybody else has to register. But I'm just wondering if we maybe in the future should make people register and maybe just open up the class size a little bit more. Just so we can track better.
Yeah.
And then I know, that, what was that community I was supposed to teach at the HOA?
Susie,
Yeah,
Susie
Susie Nicely.
with her HOA group. I think it's that.
Yeah, she said
They
that they
posted.
couldn't register because their address is what she said in the email, cause I'd encourage her to have her people, take the class.
because right now we have it set up for City of Powell residents only.
I thought they were in the city of Kyle though.
Some are like on,
Yeah.
where her community is, it splits, some are Mountain City, I think.
Okay,
So that's probably why,
I see.
but the last time,
Yeah, we can take off that restriction, cause
Okay.
I guess I'm not sure what the benefit is to have that class only for car residents. So, I'm saying we can open it up so that anyone can do it.
okay, can we do that right now?
I think it was more about just not overwhelming me with like 40 or 50 people coming. But if we're not
Popular.
having enough people, then maybe, for
What's
now, we
that?
just need to open it up,
Okay, yeah. and also-
right? And
What's
then if
that
it becomes a
ratio?
problem, then we narrow it down. I'm comfortable with maybe say 30 people, but I think with, like last time, I had people asking so many different questions. I think if it gets bigger than that, then it's gonna be hard for people to get their questions answered.
Okay, put a max of 30 enroll, max.
Cause that class actually went like a half hour over, because there was just so many questions, and that was only about maybe 14 people.
So just to clarify, we blasted on like a neighborhood, whatever.
Yeah.
There's no registration, right? There's no
They
form.
should register, yeah, so we can track
there
that.
a link?
It's on the rec desk.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is there a flyer, Stacy?
I did email Allison, it was this afternoon though, about putting it out on social media again, because I've only got one.
Oh, so there is a flyer.
Yeah, she,
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
we just need to
yeah, they
repost.
just need to push it again.
Okay, ask a Brooke or whichever one are our social media people to
I-
do a schedule, like
I
have us
think-
put a schedule out on Facebook.
Okay, I think Brooke's off this.
That whoever, it's like Brooke, oh, never left, so.
Yeah,
I'll
like-
Talk to.
Yeah.
Rachel.
Yeah. Yeah, and Allison didn't reply back yet, but I sent that pretty late, so I'm not, that's not surprising.
Alright, so we did want to bring back market booth giveaways. There has been discussion in past meetings of the ability to have the produce that's grown or the any fruits, vegetables, what you name it, from the community garden to be able to give that away. Whether it's from the parks booth or having a dedicated garden committee table at Market Day, so we did get an update from our city attorney. And they do not have an issue with distributing free produce. If there, just one caveat, if we have concerns that there is, I guess, the quality of the produce, it could be iffy, then maybe we just need to have waivers. That's pretty much the only extent that was given. As far as having a booth at community garden, typically Parks has a tent out there. So it's definitely something that if we can have someone from the board or however, that we don't mind, you guys being there and, you know, using that table to give away the vegetables or any vegetation that you have within that garden or plot, however that may be. So just wanted to make you aware. I know that was something that we owed you last time, so.
Do we have a QR code at the Parks booth for the garden?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Because you already have.
Yeah, and we could even drive them towards the website, you know, that our wonderful content created for us. So that's something that we can always, also have a QR code just to drive them to all that. So yeah, we can do that.
Is there, I know we talked about it a lot, but I'm curious about like seed extraction, like is there anything currently within the library?
Yeah, there's a seed. So for you're talking about at the community garden,
Mm-hmm.
I still need to make the art that we talked about. So,
Cause I was thinking about if we do like the market days, it'd be cool to also have seeds that people can like take and like garden, like and sow those seeds and then grow their food also if they're interested, and if they're not, you just take them for food. But I'm like that full cycle of it.
Especially if we have the like tomato videos out,
Yeah.
we could have tomato seeds with the QR code for the video.
so
Yeah.
can the seeds need to be temporary?
Not in the green.
I was gonna say, we can't have them in like the tool shed though, right? We're gonna need to, or else put a small fridge at the garden or,
Cool dark place.
Yeah, which the shed will not be in July.
yeah.
What is the rule, like 100 humidity and temperature together shouldn't be over 100?
Oh, yeah.
I just keep mine inside and then I don't have to worry about it.
At least in the garden, we might have to, I mean, I could put
The request is getting seeds?
to set it up so that there's a place for seeds so that we can pull from it.
Okay, so
Or
just
they
setting
can
up a
pull from it
placeholder
or-
and then the partners or people can take seeds from their plot and put it in there or put seeds in the.
To seeds that they can take also to the market days thing if we have, if they want to hand out the seeds there too.
Gotcha.
Do we also donate seeds?
I have not been in Texas my whole life, so this might be a silly question. If we put a refrigerator in the tool shed, will that like fry quickly because it's so hot, or is that?
It's just another management component. Yeah, maybe it's something like we can research and talk about even offline.
Okay.
Possibility.
Might be an idea for class too. Sort of like extracting seed.
Yeah. Like seed saving.
I'm not sure though, where the Kyle Public Library also has a seed library that they have.
It's very hit and miss.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I just-
We try and keep it stocked, but it's hard. People pick through it pretty quickly. And it also, it's mostly master gardeners that stock it. And, you know, the extension office is way over in Wimberley. And so you have to go to Wimberley. And if they don't have seeds, then they can't even bring it back. And so it's just, yeah, they have seeds often at the library, but there's very little to pick from.
So garden video series update, we do have, Rachel here with us, and I'm not sure if y'all met Rachel before.
Yeah.
Have y'all? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And so Tamara, I know this is the one that you're gonna lead, but I'm not sure if Rachel.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
really, it's just, I'm happy she's here. I think like with Holly, you're like, oh, we thought we gave, and they're like, we need more, and so this is like a good getting rid of the middleman and here's and so we can just have that conversation, and so she's gonna ask y'all pretty much questions that she needs, so then they can go from there. She can probably explain what that production time
Yeah.
is like.
So essentially, no one on my staff is a subject matter expert on gardening or anything like that. So what we need is someone from the garden committee that would essentially help us basically write out the information that y'all want featured in the video. So for like the pests, what are those pests by name? And then from there, my videographer can take that information, probably in a Word document would probably be the best format. And script that out essentially into, a format for a video. And from there, we could take that, set a shoot date, whatever works best. I believe, Holly, you're gonna be the talent that was mentioned on it, so whatever date would work best for you.
Okay.
And I'm assuming this is all gonna be shot at the community garden, but, essentially find a good shoot date if the weather holds out for us and then shoot on that date. So
Yeah.
essentially we just need the information. So, and just kind of, what exact information that y'all want to convey in that video. So like, yeah, the pest, the management practices for getting rid of them, for the plants, what are those 5 plants? What are the gardening tips for getting them into the soil healthy or transplanting or whatever that, process is. And then we can take that information, write it out in a video format, and then work to get it reviewed through y'all. And once y'all give it the stamp for approval, we can pretty much just get a shoot date assigned to it and work from there.
Okay, so I guess going back to the pest one, because I kind of want to focus on that one now
Yes.
first, because I think it's already kind of getting too late to
It's
put out the
crazy.
5 plants for planting right now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, I'll use pesticides if I have to, but for me, on the pests one, I really want to focus more on what are like the IPM pyramid, the cultural, mechanical, biological controls, the things that you use first
Mhm.
to hopefully prevent the pests and hopefully invite the beneficials so that you're not having to use chemicals. So I rather do it from that video from that perspective rather than here's the chemicals you're gonna use,
Mhm.
right?
No, definitely. So I
Okay.
basically just need you to put that information that you would
Sure.
want featured in that, and then from there, yeah, I think it could be a pretty simple rewrite for us. We'll just basically add video cues, kind of what, like if you say something in the video, we want to show that something. So
Okay.
from there, we can take that script. And for instance, if you're talking about in your, your language, a certain technique or a plant or whatever, we can go ahead and start grabbing B-roll of that kind of plant or
Okay.
that kind of bug, whatever it is, and
Okay.
that sort of thing. So we really just need that information, because we don't have it in-house.
And Holly, for like content QC, like that's what the city would prefer as well, so.
Good,
it aligns with
we're on
our-
the same page, I love it. I definitely probably squash vine borers, because I think that's a huge problem here.
I didn't know if y'all wanted to
Yeah.
set like maybe like kind of any kind of timeline or anything like that. I know some of these are more timely. For instance, the first video was supposed to be like March plans and things like that. So I didn't know if y'all wanted to discuss any kind of timeline for shoot and release, if y'all want to shoot them all at the same go and then release them over a period of time, or just kind of how that works best for you.
I think just because, so I wear so many hats. I'm a master gardener, and so right now we're doing the Master Gardener plant sale and the Kyle Garden Club plant sale within the Kyle Garden Club. I'm also on the training committee for the Master Gardeners. Within the Kyle Garden Club, I'm the secretary, publicity chair, community garden chair, and then I also have my own garden going on in March. So I probably right now don't have time to do like multiple, but I can certainly do one now, and then my schedule will probably ease up more towards May, and then we can talk about
Okay, yeah,
scheduling. It's just,
that works.
for gardeners, it's a very busy month.
Totally makes sense. No, okay, that works great. We can focus on the pest one. Honestly, as soon as we get that info from you, we can
Yeah.
take off running from there. So.
Thank you for being here, Rachel.
No worries.
Yeah.
So garden plots, just to give you an update. Stacy went ahead and did reach out to the inactive renters that we had the plots reserved for that hadn't been conducted whatsoever. So ultimately, we gave them a time frame of, I believe it was a week or 2 weeks, I can't remember what it was, to let us know, hey, can you respond to us? Hey, if you've moved away, you no longer need this, or if you can plant, or let us know that you're gonna be coming in, just communicate with us. So we received quite a bit of responses where we did happen to reopen some plots. I believe there was 2 individuals that moved away from Kyle, so it released that. So currently available, and these numbers are, I'm not sure if they're still current, Stacy, but these were off last week. But we had 4 88 garden tables, 6 4x8 family beds, and 4 8x12 partner beds. So that is currently still available for us to get on rec desk to sign up for?
We actually have 8 4x8 family beds now, because I had a couple other people that applied a little later that were like, hey, you know, I'm not gonna be able to keep it, so. But I have asked.
Gotcha. And then we are working with a communications team as well to just get new photos out there, just to have, you know, just updated content of the current conditions out there. So that's something that we'll be working on and releasing.
And there's no current, there's like no fee for the first year, okay?
So.
Yeah, and we actually
September, end of September.
gonna talk
September,
about,
okay.
talk about that a little bit, I believe, here in the next slide.
So the partner bed, if, that was already in the works, so technically right now there's 5 empty partner beds, but I put 4 because it seemed like it was gonna work out, so.
And good segue into the currently, as you're aware, there is no fee, you know, per past direction incorporating for the community garden. I do believe there was a fee set that we didn't quite meet the deadline to get it adopted in time within the fee schedule. Luckily, budget is every year, so right now we are in that process of us incorporating that fee schedule. Where we are looking to anticipate using that number that was provided to us back in, I believe, October, November, I can't remember when that was. But we're gonna be using that, I'm not sure we have what that rate is.
Yeah, it was like this was based on the recommendation from this body, and I think it was like $60 annual fee for
It
one
was-
garden plot.
It was, I believe it was 30 for the ADA tables, 45 for the 4x8s, and 75 for the 8x12.
Is this per year or month?
Years.
Okay.
I think that's what it
Okay.
was.
But there was some, we've got it
Yeah,
recorded
talk about
somewhere.
it. It's been
I just have to
long.
find it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that, we're gonna move forward with what you all previously recommended.
And from that, we'll bring back an item once we solidify and officially, you know, provide those numbers. We'll include this as an update to you all, but did want to make you aware that that's something that we're looking to currently do. Now that this is the time period for us to incorporate that, to add that to our fee schedule.
And it's not a profit for the Park and Rec department, as you all know, it's a small supplementation of the ongoing maintenance.
And so vision planning, myself and then our director, David Lopez, is gonna talk a little bit about this. But ultimately, we want to talk to you all just mainly on that direction on the garden committee, you know, the future of it, of how it's gonna live. One component that I do want to mention before I pass it over to David is that I know I introduced Calvin as a new native landscape supervisor. Well, Calvin's also going to be taking on the liaison role currently for the garden committee. So I do want to recognize and shout out Stacy for all her contributions the last, I don't know how long it's been, but 2 years, 3, I really don't know. So I know she's done a heck of a job with it. And so I do want to give her kudos, give her flowers. Sometimes she doesn't like to receive it. So I know, just want to let her know that we truly appreciate her. And I'm hopefully you guys, you know, are so appreciative of the work that she's done. But she is going to be in the training period to pass the baton over to Calvin. But ultimately, we have a heck of a team in the conservation division. So we're truly, either way, you're still going to be in great hands. But do want to tell Stacy, thank you for.
But did I tell you, Calvin knows how to grow things.
Like, super excited for that.
So with that, I'll pass it over to our director, Dave.
All right, thank you, Chris. Yeah, I also want to echo the sentiments of Stacy, and she loves when you pour on the plate. You gotta turn her loose on the trails and. So Chris mentioned, this transition now, and this body was meant to be, from our understanding, an ad hoc. I think it was a 1 year, and then that was re-upped again, and so we want to talk about the future of the community garden. Like, when this board dissolves after a year, how do we keep things organized? And we hope that many of you at this table will continue to play a key role in that through a partnership agreement. So a few months back, council had adopted by resolution the park partnership agreements, which gives the director of park and recreation the authority to execute annual agreements of low risk. And so these agreements could look like, it could be an Eagle Scout project, it could be, a corporate group that wants to do litter cleanups multiple times over the course of a year. It could be with a mountain bike association that helps us manage the trail system. Or it could be a group that is passionate about the community garden, and says, hey, we want to be this sort of quasi Friends of Garden. Right now, you guys aren't 501c3, but maybe that's something you guys could progress into. And so that's why we have we was like, what do we do with like these rates and these big, the 8x10?
8x12.
8x12 plots. So we thought, maybe that should be reserved as an incentive for our partners. And where we would waive that fee by the agreement and say these, and through this, even the fee schedule, to say, our partners get these beds for free. Because they give back to the cart and they pay more than their 45 or 60, or whatever that fee is over the course of the year and what they're contributing. And so we picture this group, sort of keeping this garden organized and giving some oversight and saying, hey, how do we care for our common areas? How do we get volunteers to have maybe a cleanup day for those shared spaces? Or how do we manage a seed collection refrigerator? I say you guys, but this partner group would still meet with the city regularly, it just wouldn't be as formal. Just like we do with all of our partners, check in, make sure everything's going away. What can the city do for you? We work out deal points and we say, I'm gonna say Friends of the Garden, we the Friends of the Garden will do this many general cleanup days per year. We will help with seed harvesting and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We will help with, some minor management of the compost bins. We would like the city to do a big turn on the compost bin using tractors for any major maintenance needed. The city would help us with that. We would like the city to purchase some kind of a area where we could salvage or store our seed that's protected. And so we work out these deal points with these partners and then we come up with something everybody agrees to, we execute it and we manage it from year to year. This could eventually go into something bigger than that annual agreement. And if it did become a 501c3 group, and maybe that would set us up for grant money, maybe it would be, result in bigger partnerships or where you all could fundraise eventually. But we just wanted some sustainable path forward for managing and maintaining this garden. And wanted to get some of your thoughts on that. We hope that's we're excited about the thought of that this agreement gives us the power to do and how it can grow to something bigger and better. But we do see big things for the garden, but we are not, we're more subject matter experts in all things park and recreation. If there is any way we can help with expertise with John Davis or Calvin, then our agreements look like that all the time. Like we will also be part of instructional. The other thing we wanted to look at was orientation. We have this orientation program and we think this partnering group would help us to do the orientation. And so we would partner with you all. It would be a city-led orientation event where we would put it on our rec desk, but you all would be the ones giving the orientation and maybe do orientation on a monthly or quarterly basis. And just kind of like helping ensure things run smoothly and those who have garden plots get the assistance that they need from great minds and abilities like yours.
I could add something, and really we want time we have with this community, the committee, to equip each of you to lead either different partner groups or y'all make together a partner group and hopefully we just really want those partners to really enhance like this partnership between the city and the community garden, like the community taking care of the garden, right? And so, so any future ideas or what that looks like that you want to bring up, ask us and then we can help you find those answers so that you're able to execute these programs. So that once once the committee dissolves, you know how to move forward, like with the programs, what questions to ask, who to reach out to for those things. So we really want to use us and when we want to give y'all all the equipping you need to have a great, future for the garden and different
Yeah,
partnerships.
that's a good point, Tamara. I mean, we've got time to set this thing up for success. Like we're moving towards something, but also like maybe somebody who's really passionate about like boots on the ground. They don't want to sit around at a formal table, but they're like, hey, I want to just get my hands dirty. That's where I will. And you all could help us recruit them and find them. Say, hey, like maybe I don't have the commitment for another year, meaning you all, but I know somebody who really likes this stuff and let's set up a meeting with you and them maybe. So as Tamara mentioned, we're a resource to you all and we feel like we've got enough passionate people to figure something out to ensure success. Any thoughts, ideas? concerns?
Yeah, I guess just wrapping my head around what that looks like, but I think it sounds good.
Yeah, we've got time to work through it. We don't have to. We don't have an agreement in our back pocket right now
Yeah.
for somebody to sign, but these are real user-friendly agreements. Again, they're pre-vetted by city attorney. And they're meant for those low-risk things where it makes it really easy to partner with the city.
Maybe, I don't know if we should add a slide to the next month, but I could research and just look at what Friends of Gardens look like and what they've done. So it kind of really gives you like that portrayal, like what it could look like.
I think that'd be helpful.
Yeah, that'd be
Good
good.
idea.
Then I'll do that. I'll put that on the side and mention those groups and talk about what they do.
I think for me, it's really important to just have a sense of community and to build that and to establish that and to be able to create something in which everyone feels welcome. And I think in any capacity in which I'm able to participate in that, I'm happy to do so. I want to, it's the execution. So we can talk about it, but actually being able to actually execute it is what's important to me.
I have a question. Is there still a plan to expand it? Or is that?
Yeah, so there could be, so we start seeing like, hey, this thing's busting at the seams. We have the room for it. And so, that's something that can be evaluated, like, hey, we're at max capacity. Now it's a budgetary impact. And so let's say hypothetically, right now we're okay. We've got a lot of capacity. But let's say mid next fiscal year, which starts in October, middle of that, maybe around March or something. Like, hey, we're really getting close to being at max capacity. This thing has generated a lot of buzz. We've got a great friends group partnering with us. It's time to maybe evaluate that. And we're in the middle of our budget season at that point. We can ask for those resources for the following fiscal year. Say, hey, we want, let's say we do a opinion of probable cost of construction. We say it's gonna take this much resources, and this much funding to do what we need to do for phase 2 of the garden, and we put that on the table.
Yeah, not to mention the necessary improvements, as the assets on site, the wear and tear. And that's gonna be something that we're gonna have to be analyzing on replacement, updating, and those are gonna be operational costs. Very true. Those are gonna be operational costs, but that's gonna be something that we'll be evaluating within our current budget process. On how is it that we are, I guess, right sizing for lack of a better term, our budget line for all that maintenance component, so.
And that's a good point, Chris. I mean, because although like, no matter what, like, there's some, higher risk maintenance that involves equipment that partners couldn't do. We wouldn't expect that. And so we've got to factor that operation and maintenance expense into our budgets, but this helps control cost. And it really keeps the community garden with the community. This is a community-led event, so it's not we're park and recreation. This is not our expertise, but we have a community who specializes in stuff like this. And, we've seen other successful programs. Chandler will be able to share some of those that, other cities have. And do what's best for it.
How many months left we have on this?
I'm not mistaken. When did it renew?
July or
It was
August?
it was right around the time I started, which was in
Was it June?
July or August. Or was it June?
It was July.
I think it was just.
I thought it was,
Yeah, like,
I started in July of 2024, and I feel like it just had re-upped again.
We have essentially 3 meetings.
Maybe 3 meetings.
No pressure.
What we may be able to do as well is if we felt like, hey, we're almost there, but not quite yet.
6 months or.
Maybe like some finite extension.
I think. Stephanie is like really, sounds great, and so I want that.
Yeah.
But I feel like we should sort of define what the partners do, like what's expected of them and like the scope and scale of that.
Yeah.
That really helped right with the partnership.
Yeah.
Then it makes more sense for how we stay involved if we want to, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so maybe next meeting, Tamara gives you like more familiarity with what these would, what this involvement and commitment would be and a good framework is. And maybe another meeting is sort of workshopping a little bit, spending time, like giving some feedback and working through, like, these are the essential things we need. Maybe it doesn't live with one partner, maybe there's 3 different partnering groups that should be involved and that we should be shooting for, and we got some ideas of who those might be, so.
And I'm doing it for the Trails Committee already, so I think probably just bring it to the next one. So I'm doing a presentation on how to make a friends group. So just to get like those beginning stuff, because you don't have to be straight off of 501c3 to do it, to start working, like whatever that partnership looks like, each is individualized, like what their capacity is in that year. And then once that year is done, right before, I ask them, hey, like do you want to renew? Do you want to renew? Do you want to add more? Like you think that it's like maybe you got more volunteers, you have more talents and time and labor on hand that you'll want to dedicate, share that in the garden, so maybe you'll add more things, and so that agreement changes, so they're, adaptable, they're changeable, it really is depending on what that group is saying, what capacity they have for that year. So it's always evolving, so it's never like a just one standard of how the partnership looks like. Which is a great thing, 'cause, you don't
Yeah,
have
it's really
to.
flexible. And like I said, you might have somebody who's like, I love the garden and I'm a novice, but I'd rather just like, I want to be the volunteer that leads up orientation and I'll sign a partnership agreement, then I will commit myself to, 4 orientations a year and we'll do them quarterly. That's a partnership. And another group steps up and says, hey, we want to help to sort of manage the common areas. Lead the cleaning days and schedule those and recruit people to help out. And that's a partnership, right? It doesn't all have to fit under one umbrella. This could, as Tamara said, it can be really, really flexible.
Can you say a little bit more about the 501c3?
That's-
Like what would be the advantage? Who would take care of them?
Yeah, so it's great for the group. Let's say, because there's like anything, there's only so much allocated resources that goes in different projects, garden, the parks, trails, whatever that looks like. But let's say this partner, they really like to see, I don't know, a bigger, I don't know, more innovative greenhouse. But we offer the basic one because that's really like what we have right now. So I'm just put an example of that. Let's say, hey, you all heard about this great greenhouse, and so there's a foundation out there that gives out grants to community gardens. Even the community garden I saw today, I think it was donated, a lot of the funds was donated by like 2 groups, almost like the Austin Community Garden. Something like, I can't remember what. And then there was another group that donated, right? So just like them, or like this partner, they could apply to these various foundations that sometimes actually, I would say a lot of these times, these foundations or these people that are giving money only give it to 501c3s and exclude, government to apply for these. So we don't have access to those funds, but the group does. And it gives you, also, let me see it, be like a legit group, like even more, like it's just, you're able to get, donors, you're able to fundraise. That's the biggest thing, because without being a 501c3, you can't fundraise in our public spaces for like parks, even as for the parks, but you have to have 501c3 status, because when you have one, you have the bylaws, you have your board, pretty much everything is by ethics and standards. And you're going through the right processes to handle those funds.
Yeah, and a lot of groups start with, the nice thing is we have a partnership agreement, which is low risk, and you don't have to be 501c3, you don't have to have all this formality. So it's meant to, some groups, they'll stay a park partner, and this garden partnership may stay year-to-year agreement, maybe it doesn't need to evolve in that, but we're talking about the possibilities, that you wanna take it to the next level, that's where you would go, but a lot of friends groups started just like that, as a year-to-year partnership. And they're like, hey, we can do so much more. The city can't go out and raise funds, and we think about like, a community garden is supposed to be community-led and community-run. City's gonna have limited resources to continue to throw, like, hey, we need a playground that needs replaced, and so a group or a resource like that would always like fall, like, not that it's not important, but in terms of ranking, like hazard and risk, they tend to, they're not gonna fall at the top if a playground needs replacement, right? But you can really leverage that to say, hey, like, we can get matching funds for fundraisers or through these grants, or we can raise funds, and then we have a treasurer that manages the funds, and this account set up is strictly under this 501c3, and sky's the limit with that.
Was it the Seattle Pea Patch of 501c3?
It's actually through the city.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's free.
Other things I'm just thinking of, I know early on, think about the things that we needed, we kind of went through a list of the things that the city would like help, like maintenance wise. I know with a partnership, that might change it, maybe next week. So I can say all that things.
Yeah, that's why we wanna talk about those deal points, because there's still things the city would need to do. It's like, there's just things like by the partnership, like, you can't just show up with a tractor and start, right? That's high risk. And so it's like, hey, think about like, what are things, we would talk to Stacy, what are things that we need to do on a regular basis? Already doing it. We just include those in the deal points, like that can't go away. We still have to do those things. And then outside of the garden, or Chris talked about, like some of the capital items, like a fence gets damaged somehow, or somebody vandalizes, well, that doesn't fall on the partners, that falls on the city to repair.
It's like, let's think about just the park, so let's take community garden, I don't know if that makes it, because there's a lot of people involved, but like the park. When a park has a Friends of Park group, they're not liable to fix or maintain that park. They just help enhance or improve that park. We take care of that park, but that group enhances and improves it. So I hope that it doesn't scare you as much, like, oh, we have to take this whole garden on ourselves. Like, no, that is not the ask at all.
And they have regular meetings with the city, with friends groups. I mean, there was one in bigger friends group. They started humble beginnings, like all friends group do, but we would regularly meet with them and they would talk about their needs according to the deal points. It's like city does these maintenance items, and so they would give us updates on what they're doing and then say, could the city possibly do this or budget for this and do, and we just work together all the time. And what we see, it's like, gosh, like for every dollar we invest into this garden and helping this group out, we get this huge return from this partner. Sometimes it's just like cities funding would just serve as a catalyst to do for the partner group to do something amazing.
I think one example I can think of, when I was back in North Texas, this group, they were 501c3 again. Just know that they don't just get there overnight, they've been a friends group for like 15 years. Anyways, they got this grant from Lowe's or I think it was Lowe's Home Improvement. And that funds, they got to put a pollinator garden in their park, that their friends of group, and it's really nice. Like it's a really nice area, and so obviously they worked with the city, getting the people out there in homes, or Lowe's, brought their people to do like a work day out there. It was a really, really great thing, and so, it's just the possibilities of all those things of what friends group is. So like I said, I'll make sure I research ones that are specific for community gardens and present them here.
I think one other thing that might be helpful, I know early on, we had talked about the goals that we have for the community garden. But if we're gonna be transitioning to a partnership, it might be nice to know what goals the city might have for the garden, so we can kind of see, like, whenever we're thinking about our apps and so forth, like how's the garden performing, or kind of getting close to some of those goals that the city has in addition to what those partners have to go.
That's good, Lisa, for sure.
That's all we have on our end, guys. But, any other feedback, information based on items we've talked about today? Looks like next month, we're gonna be bringing back, guess we'll probably try to figure out, that program that Rachel was asking for. Hopefully bring an update back next month regarding that, talking about the friends of how to form a friends of, and then also we could probably have a separate item that just talks about the visioning of the next steps that we could talk about as well. And I think what else we have.
So I might be totally misunderstanding, so if I'm wrong, that's fine. Were we still gonna cover the events ideas, or was that gonna kind of fall into the friends of ceremonies?
Yeah, so events as far as like from a city standpoint.
Well, just at the garden, I don't know,
Yeah.
do you still want to get their ideas on that, or is that just kind of?
Yeah, I mean, welcome any ideas you might have, on top of events that you'd like to see featured, but it sounds like to me that we probably have to figure out what that, what that vision could be, as far as that relationship comes from a formality standpoint. And maybe from those meetings next month, spark some of those events, because we could come to the table and tell you, to answer your question, what is the city envisioning? Well, let's get a set percentage that we're gonna be, meeting, we're gonna have 80% of the plots, as an example, reserved or fully used. maybe that's a metric that's the city would like to see, that we're trying to hold ourselves to that metric. Things like that, and maybe from there, we can spark some ideas of, well, how do we get to that? We can get through that by offering free giveaways and some QR codes, you know, over at these events, and then trying to bring them to the garden themselves. So just throwing stuff out there right now.
Well, I was also thinking that flower giveaway that they had
Yeah.
yesterday
Yeah.
would have been great to have at the community garden instead, because for one, trying to find parking and traffic.
Yeah.
Like granted, that small park right here.
Sure.
Well, and also the advertising was not, like I found out about it like later that evening, like, oh, I missed
Right,
it.
I found out right at 5 o'clock when I got home. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and that's something that we're trying to, we're cognizant of a lot of items from communication standpoint that we're looking to improve. And try to get stuff scheduled out in advance and try to hold ourselves to certain standards that if we have an event, you know, let's start posting stuff 3 months out, 2 weeks, month, well,
Scheduling pushes.
whatever that may be, where we can help and, so, yeah, that's something that we could definitely improve.
Yeah, and that's what Tamara meant, you know, when she said, earlier, hey, she told Rachel, let's schedule, postings leading up to something. Cause it is, I mean, they're a small group right now, there's a need to grow that group, but there's a lot of. Right now, in a city that's growing as fast as we are, there's a lot of competing needs, so we look at the budget and, yeah, who knows where that will fall in the grand scheme of things. But, there are probably some things we can do, like, when we look at events, like, yeah, well, maybe we can't do like. A garden fair where we have like some big, you know, blowout type event, but. What are some, like this flower giveaway, where it's like, okay, well, the city was doing that anyway. Let's just shift location. There might be some other events where it's like, hey, this is an event, we just need the city to promote this event on our behalf. Or maybe the city can provide a table with a tent and deliver that on site and then take it with them when they're done. So there's, same with the partnerships, in the deal points of the agreement, you start thinking about those things, like. What type of events do we like to see and what resources do we actually have? And we see it up here, but right now, like our funding is here. Or our staff time, you know, available staff time is here. But working together, it's like, well, city, you don't need to do all that. Like, we can do this part if you just supply some of the, more, you know, you got a tent, you got tables and trucks that can deliver them and take them out then. Or if we want to do some cleanup day, we need you know, some kind of a roll-off dumpster or something temporarily, could the city fund that? And it's like, yeah, like, why wouldn't we do that? Like, get all this volunteer support labor and we haul it off. That's a big win for everybody.
Yeah, are there like flyers or printed materials to like take people who might want?
I believe we do have, or we have the capability of doing that for sure. Whether we have some, I don't know if we do, but that can be something that we can definitely release and launch that I think it's featured. I do know that the flyers, I mean, we have flyers that are featured here for various things. We don't necessarily have like a recreation center, so to say, that you can have that house where you have different types of people that are walking through it. We have several facilities like City Hall, like the Public Safety Center, like the Groove Center, all these various locations, but we don't necessarily have a centralized place that we can always have flyers featured. But that's not to say that we can't produce stuff and that we don't post, because we do have flyers that we're posting at our parks. I think Stacy did some of those. Yeah.
To put them up on those community boards, because those are people who don't have access to it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Are you asking for, you would like some printed materials
Yeah.
to distribute, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we can have something.
Especially until we have some sort of. I actually have a market days in April that already told them that I'm gonna kind of do a booth for, and I was gonna have garden information too.
But if you're asking,
Along with the QR.
Leanne, for
Yes.
some flyers,
Yeah.
if you have, we can provide that for you.
The website.
Yeah,
That's great, and like a lot of, I mean, a good half of our students live in Hyatt,
Oh, wow.
but they can't. Farmington, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can always, I mean, once we have
So
a.
we'll email you a flyer.
Yeah, we could either, we'll definitely email you the proof, but we can also print some out, and if you'd like to come pick it up at our office, we can also do that as well.
That's a great idea.
Big
The group
on.
that Stacy was talking to earlier actually said they know people, and they work out an apartment, and then they know another apartment complex, so we'd love to get this name out for y'all.
Yeah.
Same route she's going.
Lisa? I thought were you debating?
She's like, how am I gonna word it? Well, so I've been to a couple of the market days. I know sometimes y'all have like entertainment and so forth, like little artists performing and so forth. So I'd love to kind of hear, maybe like if you should maybe just the logistics surrounding that. I know there's probably like a cost to the city and so forth, but just thinking about like the draw to the community garden, like there's a lot of different elements other than just like getting your hands dirty that like bring people to and like want to like come in together and so forth. So just trying to think of other ways in which we can make it more welcoming to people. So I'm more just seeking information of like what all this kind of at our disposal to kind of utilize.
And we're talking about, the logistics behind how we get market days set up and maybe transferring that over to community garden or.
Like some of the like the performing artists and so forth, are
Okay.
those things that like they come to the cities like asked to perform or like?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I guess there could be times that individuals, vendors come to us and say, hey, let us know whenever you have an event. We'd love to be a part of it. There are instances for that, but depending on the programming elements, that is something that our special event staff and our recreation staff, or care staff, do seek those services out, for entertainment or face painting, whatever that may be. They typically identify what the programming elements may be and create that as support services, so to say, just to attract people to those events.
And at some point in the life of that, like they had to, when they created an event, they had to go and build this budget around like, okay, there's this event program and, there's gonna be X amount of market days. And we need X amount of funding to support that, and all the programming that comes with it. It's a big process.
Those services are paid, right? They don't necessarily come out there from the goodness of the heart quite often. They typically, you have to pay for those type of services. So, but that is something exactly like David's saying, that we do have to identify budget for, and that's something that our team forecasts out. Hey, here's all these type of events that we're trying to do over the next 12 months, building those budgets. So that's all part of that. I talk about the fee schedule. Fee schedule is just one component of the overall budget process for us. So that's how we identify the various programming.
Is there a reason you wanna, it's related to garden somehow, or?
Just about ways to like get more interest into the garden. So like as someone being an analyst and I deal with just people's behavior and just how to increase the chances that people are gonna do certain things or want to do certain things. And the more familiar things. So if they're familiar with certain things, the more you pair that with new things or just the pairing of a lot of different things, has positive influence on behavior. So just thinking about things that might be able to kind of pair with the garden for just people to want to put in the effort to show up and to do something new and all those things. So just kind of trying to think of some thought.
It's
Yeah.
also part of the original thing, like, was to make it a gathering place.
Yeah.
And a way to build community and
Yeah.
like just
Well-
having entertainment brings people there.
Yeah, I'm thinking right now, like, yeah, and it's probably already programmed for this year, but we have, movie nights and we have like different activities where they're not, it's a program, but it's not married to any site. And the recreation division, they're doing right now like a kind of a roadshow trying to showcase our parks. And so they've looked at our system and they say, you know what, let's spread the love. So we can get people into parks. And so, Post Oak is a park. The garden is a feature of the park. But it's like, hey, I didn't know this was back here. I came for a movie night or there's other logistics thing about parking, there's power. And we definitely have to consult with Amy Garcia and her team. If you guys probably haven't met Amy, she's our assistant director over the recreation division. But to look at, hey, we've kind of, maybe we missed something, there's restrooms here, there's parking, so it's like, all right, what if we just pull people to Post Oak Park and they're like, hey, what's that garden over there? What's that about? And then you guys have a booth there. And it's like, well, to learn more, talk to these folks.
That's something that you said, Lisa, like, if any of y'all ever see an opportunity and say, I think it'd be cool if I could, like, have this booth, buy this, I don't know, that's how you find a a honey farm, a honeybee farm, and they do like their like market day on like the third Saturday. I don't know. I'm just giving a pop up.
Okay.
And you're like, that'd be so cool. I know that I know someone, and then they said yes, that I could have my like a table out there to talk about Posto Community Garden. Just if you just send us an email, it's like, hey, is this okay if I do that? And you're like, sure, go ahead. So you don't have to wait. We don't have to wait till like this committee. This is all for y'all to take action. If y'all wanna, like you said, if you wanna go ahead and like go to these places to drop off flyers, or you find this pairing, I think it'd be great for y'all to have volunteers or people out there to promote the garden. Like y'all are, I empower you. Just send us an email so we're all on the same page about that. So we'll make sure y'all know that.
And I can also tell you though, that we are, like Amy's team is always trying to figure out ways on how can we connect to the community, you know, how can we integrate into the community? How can we create a welcoming community? So those are all those various programs that we are looking to identify, and we're big believers of thinking outside the box on some of these elements. And I know that the recreation staff feels the same way, so definitely those could be some things that we can even talk to them about. Hey, what are some ideas that we may have that we can probably provide there at the park? Maybe something that we already have existing. It doesn't have to be something new, but maybe you have it there. So yeah, maybe we can have that. And I'll talk to Amy, and maybe we bring that item next month too, and let you guys get to meet Amy.
Oh,
That's
sure.
great.
It's great.
Feedback, questions? Looks like next agenda we'll have about 4 items, so.
Yeah.
This was a great meeting.
Yeah.
And we'll have the progress.
Good.
If there's no questions, are we at the end of things, I think, so do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn. Okay. It felt short, but it was actually.
Oh, second.
Oh, second. All in favor?
Hi.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. You know, that lady, Susie, I see it, like, I'm so great. She never knew exactly the dates.
That's awesome. That's what we were last one, where we were last.
No.